Well, Carly and I have already talked at the top of the show that it's March 15th. My mind goes to April 15th, tax day, right around the corner. But what about you folks at home that are already retired? Maybe you're over the age of 72 and are kind of reevaluating and making sure you're making the smartest decisions with your money when it does come to taking money out, and of course, good old Uncle Sam and taxes. Well, that's why we are thankful in our show to have Finley Alexander Wealth Management, specifically Kyle Wingfield, joining us again. Good morning, Kyle. Happy Money Monday, we should say. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you, Natalie?
I am well. This is one of the things you think about, of course, tax season more when you're working. I kind of have the impression like when you're retired, you can sit back and relax and not stress about it. But I have a feeling you're going to tell me I'm really wrong.
Well, no, retirement's a time when you shouldn't be stressing financially at all. But unfortunately, taxes have a tendency to be with us no matter what stage of life we're in. And April 15th is coming every year. And you're going to have to write a check. You're going to have to pay. So that it doesn't matter. But I don't think people should be financially stressed.
And you were saying before we got started today that there are some people that look at their retirement. Hey, I don't have to touch it. I can keep this as a nest egg. Maybe I can pass this down to my heirs and live off what I have. There's something that people need to be aware of, though. The acronym RMD. Of course, we're talking about the required minimum distribution. What do folks need to know about that, especially if they're over 72?
Yeah, there it is. So first, the age where you have to start taking out money from pre-taxed accounts. So an example of that would be IRAs. Any kind of money, any kind of retirement account that you put money in over the course of working that you never paid any tax dollars on. So pre-tax accounts, qualified plans, those are subject to required minimum distributions. That's what the acronym RMD stands for now.
So when you're talking about those distributions that you must take, correct me if I'm wrong, but that could affect the tax bracket that you're living in. If you're not touching it, then that may kind of come back to bite you when it does come tax season.
Correct. So the first thing I want everyone to think about is, are we managing our tax brackets? Because again, tax brackets change. They're not this year. They moved up a little bit or spread out a little bit, but they do change over time. And most everybody knows that. So the key here is when you take that required minimum distribution, is that going to push you into the next highest tax bracket? That can be a big concern because now you're writing more checks to Uncle Sam versus less. The second piece of understanding, managing your tax brackets is taxes underpin everything that we do. Right? You have cash flow, your income, and you have taxes. And what's unfortunate is so many people go into retirement and they don't really have a plan, and they certainly haven't had a conversation in depth, most likely, about forward tax planning and how do you deal with RMDs, which are a lemon, and turn it into lemonade.
I like that. Well, and tax liability, of course, is just going to completely jeopardize what you're able to bring to your financial future. So, of course, having that financial plan is key. But do you see people that come into your office that almost think they're doing good by not having to touch those retirements? And then that's when you kind of need to revisit again the financial plan.
You're exactly right, because it's like, listen, they're holding on to it because they know they don't need it. And if they didn't have required minimum distributions, they would just hold on to it, let it percolate, and then pass it on to people in places they care about. However, the government has a well thought out plan for your money, and that's how come they have the required minimum distribution schedule, because you never pay taxes on those dollars. So that schedule is designed to make sure you pay every dollar in tax you owe on that money, dead or alive. Okay, because when you die, if you pass on an IRA or some kind of qualified plan, then your heirs have to then pay the tax on it, because they're going to have to liquidate within 10 years, because that is the new rule, because the Secure Act passed, I think, the end of December 2019, which took the RMD age from 70.5 to 72.
Because let's be honest, Uncle Sam is going to get their take. Well, really quick, though, in closing, I know you've got a webinar that is going to be coming up. You want to share some information on that as we say our goodbyes?
Yes, yeah. So our webinar, it's going to be March 23rd, March 25th. You can go to finleyalexander.com to sign up, or you can sign up on that link there. And we're going to be talking about paying less taxes, how to turn the RMDs in your favor, and just learning about that and how to empower yourself.
Kyle, I love talking with you. You're full of so much information. We appreciate your time here, especially on our Money Mondays segment. Also, don't forget the 15-minute complimentary consultation to see if Finley Alexander is a good fit for you. There is their contact information.